though, you know, and then I figured they went on the front cover and this cover.
Yeah.
And then the back one has like regular bolts,
Okay.
which makes more sense.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, because these you
stuff.
see them.
Yeah.
You know, and this you're never
yeah.
going to see.
Yeah, I didn't even buy those. Like when I bought the long block that had all this extra ARP stuff, I was like, I was going to use the ugly stock ones, but hey, fancy, nice.
No, it all came out really good and everything.
That's good.
So, super good. And
Show me the squirters.
Oh, you won't see them. Oh, you will.
Oh, yeah, with the...
Let's see. You might see them. Okay, so if you come on this side, so can you see it poking through right there? It's on this side. I don't know if you'll see
Oh, is it the hole?
There's a brass deal that's hanging out down there. So
is it kind of flush with the...
So essentially, yeah, so it's the same. So pretty much if you look at this block, this one doesn't have it, but I could kind of give you an idea of where it's coming from.
Did they make a tall deck LSX?
I'm pretty sure they do. No, I'm pretty sure they do. So it's coming out from here.
Okay.
So it's drilled through here.
Through the main.
Through the main, and there's a jet, and we thread the jet in, and then it's like right here, and it shoots right at the top.
And so the jet has like a very specific bore
Size.
for the flow rate.
Yes. It's actually it's a lot smaller than you would think it would be.
Yeah.
They're not very big.
Do they have check valves in them?
No.
I've heard the BMWs do that so they don't lose pressure
At
while they're
idle?
sitting. Yeah.
It's probably a good idea, honestly. Well, sitting, I'm not worried about it, but maybe they have a check valve if you only have, maybe they only come on at 40, 50 pounds of pressure, which would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Because this will lower your idle oil pressure.
This will lower the idle.
Yes.
And
Because
yours
it is a bleed. It's a
bleed.
It's just bleeding out. But what you're doing with the dry sump and everything really kind of overcomes that because it's such a good system. It's not like the standard oil pump and everything. This is what I was talking about. So this thing, it's a little bit on there because of the assembly lube.
Yeah.
But this thing can float right now.
Okay.
And also on that keyway, I actually stuck just a little bit of silicone in there, just to kind of hold that thing in place.
All right.
But this meets up with the bouncer.
Yeah.
So it won't matter at that point. So that's essentially your spacer.
Okay.
But now you know where that jet is. If you look from this angle.
Oh, now I can see it.
Yeah, you see it?
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah. Kind of just snuck right in there and everything.
Is it aimed at anything in particular? Like
Yeah, this is a very, so when we do these, BOP is the one that makes the fixture, but this is often a fixture and everything. So it bolts into the mains with a big fixture, and it has a drill bushing that you use for a guide.
Yeah.
So everything is very particular on exactly how it aims and the angle and everything.
I think this is a better idea than loop tubes.
The loop tubes is the problem with those is they're nice, like an LSA, stock stroke, stock rods, and everything. It's super, super hard to get those to work with any kind of stroke or any kind of a decent sized rod. They always hit them when they come down. So an LSA squirter you could not put in this engine. I ran that the first LSA I ever built. I had built maybe 8.
But it's a 3.6 stroke.
That's right. I only built maybe 8 LSs before I built my first LSA. And the guy had his Cadillac and his brand new car. I mean, literally had like 15 miles on it.
Throw it here.
And well, luckily I don't work on cars.
Oh, yeah.
But he drives it to this guy's shop, says, make it. They didn't even pull the engine out. He said, I want to keep that engine complete. So let's build an all new deal. And he's like, I want another LSA block. So the LSA block is $1,000 more than the regular block. And all it has
is like roto molded or something like that, right?
It's
supposed to be more dense, I think.
That's a rumor. I doubt it.
Yeah, it's still aluminum.
when I machine it, I can't. Usually, I can tell the difference, you know. And but we didn't see anything. The squirters were different. And then I stroke it. I put everything in, and it hits the squirters. And I was like, well, that was a waste of $1,000. So we have to block the squirters and then redo the squirters a different way. And I was like, wow, that's a giant waste of money. So it is what it is, you know. That's. So that was the last time I was like, okay, well, you can't do that. So if anybody ever wanted an LSA block, either have stock stroke or forget it.
Coming out,
yeah, it's not worth it. So
you got it in the
yeah,
nice.
and I clearanced that quite a bit, as much as I felt comfortable with doing.
And is the barbell already in there?
Yes.
Did you find the metal one?
Really nice.
Found a metal
really
one?
Nice.
Yeah.
Very snug. At first, it didn't want to go in, but I have. But I was just check fitting it because it actually said in the instructions sometimes they're a little bit snug.
Yeah.
But it actually works really good. And then I have a special lube for O-rings, so I put that on. Popped right in. That thing was really nice. I haven't even seen one of those
Yeah,
yet.
they said the clearances on it was tighter
Very
than the
tight.
normal one.
Very tight. But it went right in. It was not a forceful thing. It was just when it got to the O-ring, it was very tight.
Yeah.
But as soon as I put my normal O-ring lube on it, popped right in. That was a very nice piece.
So here, I'm gonna show you this with the oil flow. So you have these two galleries here. And what happens is back here, there's a hole for the main gallery. This one goes all the way to the front. And what they do on the LS is you put literally a barbell. It looks like two little chunks on one end and the other. And what it does is it slides through here and it plugs this space in between.
Oh, wow.
And then it just gets held in back here, right?
Yeah, so what it's doing, what the barbell does, is it makes it go through the filter before it goes through the rest of the engine, essentially.
But for me, this is my oil in now.
Okay.
And this goes straight up to the main, right up here. Well, I wish it went to the mains. It actually goes to cam first.
Right.
And then it finds
Yeah.
its way to the mains, unfortunately.
Yeah, but the barbell is pretty much blocking it from going.
Right.
And then we tap these anyways.
So you tap this up front?
Both of them. I did both of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so both of them are tapped behind the cover. They both have 3H pipe plugs in them.
Awesome. Okay. I wasn't sure if it would be hard to do because you have to get through one hole to get to the other hole.
It's you know what? Oh, I just tapped the first hole pretty much.
So for behind, so if it makes it past the barbell, it's going to dump out in the front.
It'll dump a little bit out where the oil pump. No, because it goes in the front here. So, yeah, no, it's going to be blocked. So this, I tapped this hole and this hole.
Oh,
so
it's
it
tapped
doesn't-
right here. Okay.
Yeah, this is the normal, I think it's a 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
It normally comes with a push and plug. It's stupid. I always tap these. I always. And then I knew it was going to be dry sump, so I tapped this one too.
Awesome.
So even if it makes it through here, it can't
There's
go
nowhere to
anywhere.
go. There's no hole.
Yeah, there's no hole here.
Okay. Whoa, that's not normal.
Yeah, roller bearing deal.
When is that a good idea?
We do it on a decent amount of stuff. Not so much of some street strip stuff, but we've had to do a lot of things to make that really streetable. It was mainly a drag race thing only.
Needs to get rebuilt every season, kind of thing.
Yeah, originally it was just kind of a pain because of it. It only gets oil from splash. There is no direct oil, but it's nice because it actually blocks all the oil oil holes off.
Yeah.
So it gives it more oil everywhere else because it's not wasting all that oil here. But what we did in the very beginning when we did this, we started to see heat in the front plate. Well, the front plate used to get oil from splash from the camber.
it's not good.
Now it got none. So originally we took the oil hole and we notched a little hole in the block. Not a hole, just a very slight piece, and it had pressurized oil into that plate. Since then, we take the cam bearings now and we actually drill a little hole in the backside of the cam bearing, so now it's pressurized oil. So little things you
So the
pick
outer
up.
race has a little hole in it. Now.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it'll pressurize oil just in the front one. The rest of the oil is still in the splash.
And you consider this street now?
Now I think I could. I've put them in some street deals and
Wow.
they've been okay, you know, and everything. A
really
little
cut down
more
on
sketchy. Yeah, a little bit. You know, at assembly I can tell a huge difference in assembly. If I have something that's got some spring pressure,
Yeah.
not so much on the LSs because even we normally don't run that much spring pressure in them. But if I run one of my big
Much over 450 collapses the hydraulics, right?
yeah, exactly. So if I have a big solid roller blown motor, and it's got a bunch of spring pressure, and I have a Babbitt bearing cam, when I'm like turning it over compared to a roller bearing cam, the Babbitt bearing wants to grab the bearing. Now once oil pressure is there, it doesn't really do that. But assembly wise, it's easier to degree the cam, a lot of things, and it is less friction, and it is puts oil a lot further out everywhere else. So it is a lot nicer deal. The press on the bearings is pretty tight and everything. We don't have to worry about a Babbitt getting distorted or anything, so we can keep the press really good on these. But I can get them for the street. If anything's going to heat soak a lot, I don't like to do it to the factory blocks because they grow a lot because
the aluminum ones.
Yeah, because there's like a lightweight aluminum.
Yeah.
I mean, you pick up like a Dart aluminum block compared to a factory aluminum block. You know, these things are 40 pounds lighter. You know, that just tells you the material wise.
And these are like 80 pounds apart, aren't they?
And these, easy. Yeah, and these are really heavy. So that's why I don't mind doing the iron blocks. I just feel like if it's going to get a lot of heat soak, it's not going to alter, you know, the cam bearing at all. It's not going to make it loose. I'm always worried about the factory aluminum blocks. You know, they go in with a lot of press, but when they get really hot, they grow a lot. I'm worried about that bearing staying stable because it's only held in by press. I haven't had to. I used on
There's
some
no
of
lip.
no. There's nothing. So I can do guides in there. It's just a lot more work. So that's why at that point, like, it doesn't make sense to do it in a factory aluminum block. But the LSX blocks we will do them. This will be like a street strip thing. This thing will still make you know, well over 1,000 horsepower and everything. I think it's going in a truck. I do a lot of these hot rod LS truck deals.
This, I was like, I look at this, I was like, I've never seen something that size before.
Ever.
Ever, yeah.
Ever.
That one's actually going in a like a 67 Camaro.
Wow.
This is more or less like one of those, you know,
Oh my
outlaw
God.
cars.
That's crazy.
Crank driven.
Yeah, crank turn the
No belt.
No.
That would be too much, right? I mean, wouldn't that just...
That's got to take 100 horsepower to turn that thing, right?
They do option power, but so do blowers. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the big thing about blowers. They make a ton of power, but they take a lot of power to turn.
Billet elbow. Holy That's serious. I like your covers. Very nice.
Yeah.
That's
Very
cool.
nice.
That looks really nice. That's amazing.
Damn.
What's this piece for?
It's a burst panel, so if you ever backfired it, it doesn't blow the whole manifold to pieces.
Oh, right.
It'll just pop this, and then these things just come apart and you put a new panel in.
Oh, that's cool. Holy crap. I've never seen anything
Yeah,
that
a
large.
backfire in 600 cubic inches is next level.
Yeah, a blown one too,
Yeah.
and it's on methanol.
That's thousands of horsepower, right?
Yeah,
Or is
this
that-
one
yeah,
will
that's
make. This will make probably, if we really turn it up, it'll make 3,000.
yeah.
Can your engine dyno handle
No,
that?
Yeah.
no, I won't dyno this one. I dynoed it on super low, almost no boost, lower than I thought. I actually had these. I had these gears in backwards. I had this R&R. There's no kit for this. I had to
You didn't make
figure everything out on there.
That's amazing.
And especially when it has a dry sound.
So is that non-helical gears in there? Is that what's inside?
So the gears actually are completely like you could put them either way.
That's gnarly.
They don't go in like, there's not like a left and a right or whatever. So the problem with that is you can put them in backwards. No problem. So when I got the gear drive, I didn't check it. You know,
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah.
apparently I should have checked it. So instead of 30% over, it's 30% underdriven. So I tried to dyno it, and it only made like 1 pound of boost. I only ran it to like 5,800. I just mainly wanted to make sure it didn't leak, everything was good, blah blah blah, and we'll either chassis dyno it or just tune it at the track. But at 5,800 with 1 pound of boost, and obviously I'm not tuning it for 1 pound of boost.
Right.
But it made 1,150 horsepower.
Basically naturally aspirated.
Yeah, naturally aspirated at only 5,800. Like the thing will, this motor will go to 75, 7,600. So it would have made, 14, 1500 with no boost. So now you throw whatever amount, 30 pounds of boost. This one we're going to try to keep it around 2,500 for his car.
Okay.
He's got a pretty old school car and everything. It's a bitchin' car, but it's and he keeps on updating it as time goes on, but I don't want to.
This is quite the update.
Yeah, I don't want to throw 3,000 horsepower at it. The tricky part on this thing was to make all this dry sump stuff work. Like I said, nobody really had a kit for any of this. So you could see like in here, like I've got brackets, bolts, tubes going through other brackets. Everything's in the middle, making all the lines, everything real clean. And
Nothing touches. Beauty.
yeah. It was just a heck of a project. I mean, it came out great. I'm super stoked on how it came out, but it was, and it's been a lengthy project, mainly my fault.
Dash 10
Yeah.
with methanol, no problem.
No. Yeah, it'll be all right with that.
That's killer, Mike. What do you think about RPM limit with the 4-inch stroke?
I mean, I have them. You have to see how much.
See where it stops making power?
Yeah, like I don't see a problem with that rod and everything. It depends on how long you're going to sit at a high RPM too. But I would think 8,000 shouldn't be a problem with the solid cam and everything.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem. If it makes power higher than that, that's fine. But don't sit at 8,000 RPM.
Right.
In a gear change, no problem.
Okay.
And everything.
But in the mile or at El Mirage.
But you're not gonna. Again, it's not gonna. It won't sit there. It's a slow movement up to that point.
Okay.
But it won't. It's not gonna sit there.
I see what you're saying.
Okay. Like boats are the ones that do that. You just get to an RPM and they'll just.
Because that's where the prop's happy and you go.
And they just keep them there like, too many of them. That's why most of the time we try to keep those in the mid 6,000 range or something, because they'll sit there at 6,500 for 10 miles. And that's hard on parts. So when they're like, oh yeah, I got a V drive, I want to spin at 7,500, that's fine. Don't sit at 7,500 for your 10-mile journey. That's the biggest thing,
Okay.
Like if it's going in there in a gear change or whatever, and it's just revving up to that point, you got the right components, it's no big deal.
Do you think I made a bad choice with those really thin rings, or do you think they'll last a while, or is it just a roll of the dice?
No, they're not that thin. No.
Okay. Because they were 0.9, but then the total seal, they're like basically 0.45 mil, right?
It's small, but it has that other point. But I run rings in different applications that are 27,000 thick.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
I run some small stuff.
All right.
And some of my stuff that is that small is circle track. So it's, they have to go, they're beating on the thing for numerous races at hundreds of laps at a time.
Yeah. I thought I was being really extreme with them because I've never seen them
good.
anywhere.
No, that's a great kit.
Okay.
And everything.
Cool.
So, and it's got the really good top ring and everything in it that holds up phenomenal.
And you like the Manly cranks as much as the cheaper Calis, or is it kind of a
Yes, I do.
You do. Okay.
I do. I like the Manly stuff a lot. One of the main reasons is I'm comfortable with them. I know what their sizes are going to be. They're very consistent.
Okay.
So I already know kind of what sizes they have. I already know like what we're going to expect in bearings.
Yeah.
So I already know what bearings to grab off the shelf, put them in, torque them up. The clearance is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Because
Nice.
it's that consistent.
Nice.
Especially when we line on the blocks. I put the blocks in a certain range.
Mm-hmm.
If I get a Manly crank, things like that, like it all kind of falls right into play.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward and everything.
Will you show us the dyno room?
Sure. Not much to see right now.
Is it up and running?
No, there's nothing on it.
Oh.
When there's something on it, I do. This will be going on it.
Holy crap.
So this is a.
Just when you think you're going big.
This is crazy.
So this motor actually made smaller and it's 750 inches. Wow.
How big was the blown one?
The blown one's actually bigger than it should be, but that motor was originally going to not be a blown motor. But it's 645 inches. Normally when I do my blown ones, I only make them about 565 at the most.
Because you want the cylinder wall thickness, or what is it?
I just don't need all that. I don't need all that deck height. I don't need all that. It's overwhelming to the blower. A lot of times you won't make as much boost.
Oh, interesting. Excuse me.
So a lot of times you won't make that much boost, things like that. Where the smaller engine, it's not small, 565 is still a big engine, but on the smaller engines, it's easier to make boost, and boost is a better trade-off than cubic inches for power.
Oh, you get the multiplier there.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but this is a big nitrous motor deal.
750.
So it used to have a 500 stroke crank in it. Whoa. And I put a 5 3/8, so
and how
375.
How high does it spin?
We'll see. I haven't dynoed this one yet, but I'm sure it'll be in the 7,000 range. I don't think it'll be 8,000 or anything like that.
See, I'm so used to like forever. I'm just reading crap on the internet, but it's like everyone's like, oh, you can't go past an average piston speed of 5,000.
No, I mean that's.
And that just seems like all of these motors are just like leaving that in the dust.
Yeah.
Is that because the quality of the forgings has gotten better? Like,
well, the material, this has a real tall deck and everything, so rod stroke ratio is still really
not
good.
Not a lot of
in this
angularity.
engine. Yeah, it's still really good. So you have a lot of really good benefits still if you do the right setup. Okay. You can't take a normal standard deck big block Chevy and make it 650, 660 inches and expect it to live. It's going to blow up. But you make it a 565 and the thing's going to live, no problems. It'll still make really good power, but as you increase that deck height, also this is a what they call 5-inch bore space engine. Normal engines are 4940, and so this has a wider bore spacing. So this piston,
that's a super custom block. Yeah.
Yeah. So the piston is 4750 bore size. And that's and then that's and
what's the 5-inch piston?
Yeah. So and that's pretty much normal for when you get it. And they have 5300 bore space engines now.
And these are separate regulators for the different stages?
Yeah. So this would be for all the carburetors, and then these are all the different stages of nitrous. And I rebuilt this motor. This was not my original motor. Like I said, the reason we changed the crank is it broke in half. And it's just cycle time. When you have that much stroke, you got to cycle them out. He had bought the engine, so he didn't really know. He knew what the guy told him, how he runs wrong, but you don't really know or whatever. Right. Not like the guy did him wrong, but it's kind of nature of the beast when you get into these.
How long do these vacuum pumps last?
The pumps should last a real long time. You could rebuild them too. I mean, they last damn near forever.
Do you know how much vacuum you're pulling on this one?
Not on this one yet. The bigger motors do tend to struggle a little bit with the vacuum, so we just got to see where it's going to be. I'm hoping to be in the 12 to 13 range is what I'm hoping.
You think that's what I should shoot for in mine?
You could shoot for as much as you want on yours.
Okay. All because the squirters go nuts.
You got squirters, you got that thin ring, you have all those things. If that thing made 18, 20 inches of vacuum, don't even blink an eye about it.
Okay.
My road race deals I've had them 23 inches, 24 inches of vacuum road race.
Okay.
Circle track. The big motors, aluminum blocks are harder to seal up. So it might not make that much, but that's fine. The nitrous will take care of all that.
Any tricks to seal it up better?
As far as
like where do the bleeds happen through? Valve covers?
The LSs are pretty good. The pan gaskets are really nice, so I don't think you're gonna have to. I don't think there's too many tricks to the LSs. Okay. When you're all said and done, it's long block. You got valve covers and everything on it. Stupid little simple thing to do. If you have a hole in the valve cover somewhere, pressurize it. Put, even you blowing into it, put 2 or 3 pounds of pressure in it. I go around them with Dawn soap and water.
Yep, soap and water.
And I go around it, and man, if there's an air leak, it just blows huge bubbles and everything, and you find it.
Flatten a bike tire.
Super easy deal.
All right.
Works great.
You're thinking like a shitty porous casting, it'll maybe be.
If it did, I don't think it would do that. But like if you did have like a gasket leak of some sort, you'll see it. And then if you see it, you could address it.
A little more silicone.
Like yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that needs more silicone.
but yeah, for the most part, the LS's seal up really good. Their gasket setup is very nice. But that's a simple thing to do when you're all done. Like we already did this to this one.
Do you think pan volume only helps without? Do you think pan volume helps power on at all?
Like having it bigger?
Yeah.
No. Kickouts help out a little bit, but LS is not so much because they have that skirted block. This doesn't have a skirted block.
The kickout lets the oil get away from it faster.
That's right. That's all it does. The large capacity pans. You don't want, if you're trying to pull vacuum, you don't want cubic space, in other words. So the more space is the
Harder
more.
reworking.
That's right. The more it's going to be harder for it to pull. So you want to make the pan work good with kickouts and things like that for this particular application, but I don't need any wasted area. Like yours, you don't do kickouts or anything because everything is in that skirted area.
Yeah.
You just do the windage tray and that's it.
If I ever got, I know Race Tech makes their boosted pistons different from their NA pistons,
Right.
etc. And they probably run more crown and
Right.
thicker rings and everything else. But if I ever got greedy and wanted to put boost to this, is that just an awful idea?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I know that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You just keep it low and safe. It'll probably be fine. I didn't. You have the sheet and everything, but I didn't investigate it too much to how thick they make it. But even a normally aspirated piston, I've put in nitrous or boost to it. I just do it moderate.
Yeah.
And I'm cautious with the tune-up.
Okay.
I'm not trying to get that piston too hot and everything.
A little extra fuel, a little less timing.
Yeah, simple things like that, and you could put a little bit on it, and you don't want to put 30 pounds on it or anything.
Yeah, that's another question. Yeah, Fred, we're at QMP Racing, so what's a little bit of boost?
Yeah.
That's relative. I want to know your definition of a little bit of boost.
Yeah, you don't want to put.
Okay, not 30. Okay,
yeah,
I got
exactly.
that.
You keep it in single digits. You'll be fine for now. You put a different piston in it, then you can turn it up.
Okay.
So yeah, this one's getting ready to dyno.
So only 9.9 psi. Got it.
Yeah. This is kind of where I do some mock-up stuff.
Cool.
Right now, we're just getting this little small block kind of all figured out and mocked up.
How much do you gain from the belt drives for the cams?
It's hard to say an actual power number, but man, dampening and everything, it's just a way nicer deal to green the cams. So much of a nicer.
Oh, yeah, because you can do it from outside. Yeah, I agree. Take a degree.
And I could split hairs. I could put it anywhere I want.
Half degree,
Yeah,
quarter degree.
quarter degree, anywhere I want. So it's really nice and everything, and it gives you that extra, it takes away more metal in the engine, rotating metal and stuff. So it's got a belt now.
Not a chain.
Yeah, so a little
Do they
more.
last as long as the chains?
Yeah, I think they do. I really do.
Very cool.
And then over here is the dyno room, but like I said, there's nothing in it right now. We gotta put that big motor on.
Bet it gets loud in here.
Yeah, yeah. And it's got exhaust that goes up, but when you do like something like that big engine, it doesn't help too much. And a lot of times, like I'll have to run I do a couple blown alcohol motors, top dragster motors, not like blown alcohol dragster.
Yeah.
So they're just top sportsman, top dragster stuff. But here, I don't even rev them up that hard here because they're so aggressive. They're wicked.
Because it's high compression plus boost, right?
Yeah, they're not even that high because, like I said, these are more like sportsman deals. So these
Yeah.
guys put 80 runs on them before I see them again.
Oh wow.
And here I'll run them to like 7,500, and they'll run them to 8,200 in the dragsters.
Right.
And at 70, and I mean the horsepower line is like going this. I mean they're
Just keep
making
going.
they're making 18 horsepower per 100 RPM still. It's just shooting up, and they'll make like 2150 here, and I have to run those pipes
big ones.
and I just have them sitting in the tunnel. Don't go through a muffler. I do that because methanol. There's so much fuel. There's so much almost waste going in there too.
Oh, you have Monster Cam as well. It's just blowing it out.
I've lit it before in the pipes, and it's like a bomb. It's the scariest thing. It blows the exhaust off. Like the blown alcohol motors have taken more years off my life, I guarantee, than anything I've ever done in my life. They're just very, very, and they're so aggressive. You got to make sure the dyno's going to grab it. You can't just punch it and hopefully it's going to grab it, or otherwise it's going to swing to the moon. So, and the butterflies, when you have like a big and ugly hat, it has over a 3-inch butterflies. Yeah. So you barely move that thing. Well, the area that's opening is astronomical amount of area.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it wants to start, in the beginning, it's got so much vacuum on the butterflies, it's hard to get them to open. And then they start to open, and then they want to open.
Now it's sucking it.
So
now you're pulling back.
it's like I said, that
sounds like fishing.
Those things are very, very, very crazy.
Fishing with a bomb.
Fishing with the methanol bomb.
Yeah.
Good times. So did you build this in the shop? I presume this wasn't here.
Yeah, we did all this.
That must have been quite a project.
Yeah, and it's got all the filters up here, and like I said, it's got the full exhaust, full water system. We don't use city water. We have our own. So we built it into there. We could never get it out unless we tear down the room. That little section to the right of the exhaust, that little area where the outlet is behind there, there's a 1,000-gallon
water tank
in there, and we built that into there, and that's what everything runs off of. So we don't. A lot of dynos actually just run off of like city water and they dump it. We don't do that. We just cycle our water, and then we treat it and blah blah blah.
So you're able to hold a temperature on the water?
Pretty good. Like in the summer, like now it's hard because just heat soak from general days. It's a little more difficult, but most of the time, like motor temperature doesn't seem to be a problem as much. It's like, if the water temperature, actually, if I get all that fluid to around 100 degrees, which I've done, the dyno doesn't like to work right, and it starts to burn seals out and things like that, because the dyno's like a giant torque converter almost, and when you put the throttle down, the dyno actually grabs it, but it's grabbing it, and it's kind of slipping and things like that. Well, now if you have 110 degree water temperature and you're slipping things, like it's just burning stuff up. Anybody that owns a dyno learns a lot about a dyno. A lot of things they don't want to know. They want to tune, they want to figure out power and everything, and next thing you know, you got to be an expert on
this whole
working on the dyno.
Yeah.
They can be a little finicky and stuff, but all in all, I mean, I think you really need one. We went a long time without one, and we got it, and it's for sure a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I hate this thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And then it's loud back here, but I'll take you through a walkthrough.
Yeah, sweet.
So this used to be our lounge, but now it's like bombarded with parts and stuff now. And then this is where all the machines are.
Whoa.
One guy runs 2 machines. Well, actually,
3.
one of the diamond ones. It has sensors.
Oh, okay. So this is one of your famous diamond hones here?
Yeah. So right now we're just roughing this block. That's why the torque plate isn't on it yet. So we're just actually getting it closer to size. So right now, it'll run. He can tell it to run at whatever load, and he can tell it to run to a certain size and just hit go.
Oh, wow.
And it'll actually, this is the cylinder, and if it gets out of shape too much, it'll actually dwell itself. It'll straighten itself out.
Oh, it'll concentrate on one area.
That's right. So right now, this is the cycle time it's going through, and it'll get to here and it'll automatically shut off.
One of the guys at Total Seal told me to come down here.
Yeah. And the other CNC machine. We have a couple board programs for some mod heads that we work on.
So it's like a head porting program?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You could do a lot of things in here, but I mean, obviously we do some cylinder head stuff in here. Line home. And that's, we're boring a Consolo right now.
Oh, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's a 90-degree head.
Yeah.
And this is designated just for this. We don't have to break this down or nothing. Just for the Consolo. We actually made that Consolo house.
Is that your workflow for the week?
Well, not for the week, but that is our system that we work on.
Very cool. Man, you got a serious machine shop back here.
Back here is where we do a lot of design work, cylinder heads, measuring the pistons, just testing valve springs.
That almost looks automated.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. It just cycles it.
You have a cam doctor here too, don't you?
Yeah, we have a cam doctor.
What are you using this bad boy for?
So this is a ferro arm, so we'll go in here. This is a really good exhaust port we did on a trick flow
So
deal.
you're digitizing your port.
Yeah, so we go in here and take all the points up and it puts it on the screen, and then that's how we come up with our port program.
Amazing. What head is this?
Trick flow 44R for like a lightning style deal, 2-valve mod motor.
Okay.
They're really good heads. The exhaust ports I don't feel are that good.
So that's where you focus on?
We don't even touch the intake port. I mean, we really feel it's good. But we do a lot of work to the exhaust to get them up. I mean, we change the valves, we change the seats, we change the size of the valve, the seat angle, the port. I mean, we change a lot. So it's very expensive for us to do this port program, but the people we've done it for they're really, really
Because it's a blown motor and the exhaust
right.
matters.
Well, yeah, it's going in the intake, and the intake's pretty good, but
Yeah,
I feel like the
that's
exhaust, it's
Needs
suffering.
help.
But we get it out good now and everything.
Any of these cars you're particularly proud of?
A lot of them, we've got a lot of stuff and a lot of different people's stuff. It's just kind of over the years and everything.
Where's this from?
That was actually from this car. It's actually an engineering award. So it's from that car. And it was a best engineered award deal.
I love your shop, man. Very impressive.
Yes.
So are you and Brad partners?
Yeah, I mean, Brad's the owner, really. I've been here since pretty much day one. We have somewhat of a partnership and everything, but I mean, it's really his place.
How long you been using the deck plates?
Since day one, but we used to buy them from like DHA or places like that. But we don't do that anymore. We actually make all our own. A lot of the torque plates. Yeah. Yeah.
Cross out that one.
A lot of the torque plates are basic plates. They're steel. They have spacers, things like that. It's not like super ideal for what you're doing. So you use a steel deck plate and spacers on it. Well, that's not how your head goes on.
True.
So we make our torque plates kind of as close as we can to the cylinder head. So they're aluminum. They're full length of the studs.
Also,
And
whatever
then-
the height of the stud is, that's the height of the deck plate.
That's right. And then a lot of them in our really exotic stuff, like the Brad Anderson Pro Mod, we do a couple motors. We actually felt like the torque plate, even though we did it that way, we felt like it was too stiff. Well, it doesn't have ports in it. So
Right.
we actually started machining ports.
Take some metal out of it.
Yeah. And actually got them a little bit closer. The closer we can get, and you torque them. So like a Brad motor, the ones at least I do, you torque the studs I think it's 170 to 150 pounds. I mean, it's such a massive torque
That will distort the block.
it absolutely does. And then also, if you have the plate too rigid, it's going to be a little bit different because it's such a great, like if you're torquing at 65 pounds, it might not matter.
Right.
But when you have it that massive number and everything, it's definitely can matter.
Do you remember what the ARPs go to approximately on the LSs?
I think they're 85, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And then they have, different ones and stuff like that.
Any tricks to putting the head studs in?
No, I put a little anti-seize on them.
Okay.
Put them in literally hand tight.
Okay.
And not tighten them up.
Okay.
But you just put them in hand tight.
Okay.
And I always put something. I never put anything metal and aluminum without something.
Smart. Okay.
So anti-seize, moly, even words, just any kind of lubricant.
Okay. All right. Is there anesthesia you like more than others, or is that all the same to you?
No, I think most of them are the same. I mean, I actually used to use a lot of the GM anti-seize.
Okay.
GM actually, I don't think it's theirs, but like I was getting it came in a GM bottle.
Okay.
And I think it had more nickel or something like that in it, but it seemed to hold up good. I've actually had, sometimes you buy anti-seize from like McMaster car or something. It's such a ginormous bottle, like it does actually dry out eventually.
You throw half of it away.
Yeah. So that's why I started getting it from GM. It's kind of a smaller bottle.
Okay.
And you know what? If that's what they're using, they definitely do a lot more research than probably most of us on their stuff and everything.
Probably works pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
We always use like GM transmission fluid.
Yeah.
Even in Japanese cars.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like yeah, because
Yeah.
it seems to work the best.
No,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's so funny how small a small block looks after walking in your shop.
Yeah, that's a little small Ford. This was a pretty good motor too. We just finished this one. It's a 363 road race deal, so it's got to live. And it actually ended up making 640, 363 inches, 4150 carburetor.
640.
Yeah, AFR head, 205 head on it.
Not even the big ones.
No, doesn't have a big head on it. It was pretty good. It came in here. The guy wanted me to make some more power, so I dynoed it when it came in, and it made 585. And I said, okay, well, it's not going to be cheap to
To go above 585.
Yeah, so, I mean,
you said
we-
360 cubic inch?
363.
363.
So we did a lot of. I actually couldn't run his lines because of my motor mounts, so that's why they're kind of tucked over here. Regular Victor Junior intake. I mean, it was not
How'd you find the power in
a
porting?
lot of things. We did a lot of porting, different camshaft. We did the big lifters in it. I did a lot of all my normal really trick stuff, but all that stuff, the bigger lifters, all those things are better anyways. That's better for longevity regardless. So we put like 937.
Oh, like larger diameter.
Yeah, we put 937 lifters in it.
Okay.
Bigger wheel.
These are what, 850 or 3/4, something like that?
These are 842. stock.
842 in the LS. Okay. And these are 9
37.
big,
Yeah,
big wheel.
yeah.
So what's this one rev to?
That one I ran. Well, that was another thing. When it came in, it pretty much started nosing over about 7,000, and now, even at 7,000, it's still like close to 40 higher, even at 7,000. But now it revs all the way to 7,800, and it doesn't even lay over. It just flatlines. It doesn't even go backwards. And we ran it, a little bit higher than that even, but it just sat there. And
Are those piston oil squirters?
yes, the customer actually did that.
It's nice.
It was very nice. I told him it was very nice. Did a really good job. Yeah, he tapped that fitting and everything. He bent all the lines. He was bitching.
So he taps that, comes up, tees off. And then did he have to make something, or it was already in the
No,
part
it was
of
in the valve cover. The valve cover has welded-in squirter deals.
I'm still not used to seeing this billet stuff. This is pretty
Yeah.
easy. I have to imagine the block of aluminum that this intake manifold was.
Yeah.
That's a pretty piece of aluminum. It's not a pretty good piece of aluminum.
So
That's a small motor. That one's.
Yeah, what is that?
That's
looks
a,
really different.
310-inch small block Ford. That's why I had to have that billet manifold made. It's going in a. It's called a cracker box boat. It's a circle track boat racing deal. But this actually has a D3 head on it on an 8.2 deck. Well, nobody makes a manifold for that.
What's a D3 head?
It's just it's a style head. It's a Ford head. It's kind of like a Yates head.
Okay. It's like old NASCAR stuff?
Yeah, exactly. And
It says
so-
Spintron on the heads?
well, we got these heads from an old Cup team, and they only use the heads for the Spintron.
This was their test head
This
for
was
this
a test head,
for the valve train.
but we did for the valve train, but there was no work done to the head at all. And then so when we got it, we had to do all the port work and everything. And I actually sent the heads out. Al Neal did these heads. They're phenomenal. I can't wait to run this thing. This guy has another motor I built. It's really good. It's really nice. But it's nothing like this. It's a really good motor. It's 310 inches, 4150. It has a regular cast manifold because it has a different cylinder head, not as good as cylinder head. And it made 615 at 310 inches. And now this one is the same size because of the rules, but it has a lot better cylinder head, a lot better manifold.
Did you make the manifold?
No, the manifold came from Ultra Pro, Don at Ultra Pro.
Did you
Great guy.
digitize the for him after the heads were bolted up?
No, I had to send him the heads. The heads were already on it. And he's like, I need the heads. I was like, oh, man, rockers, everything were on it. And I was like, okay, no problem. Because I had gotten a motor before from him, or with his manifold on it. And it was just where you could see it. I mean, it's just a work of art. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Fits perfect, everything. So I called and said, would you make a manifold for this other project I'm doing? He said, yeah, but you'll have to send me the heads. So I took them back off, sent it to him. He got it done. It's badass. Everything I ever wanted it to be. Fits perfect.
It's tricky because the heads look like twice the size of the block.
That's what I mean. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
That's why I had to have that kind of a man. It was either that or sheet metal, and I really
And that's why they
felt,
flow.
Yeah.
Right.
I really felt the sheet metal in a boat application endurance. I felt like all the bouncing and
Vibration.
vibration. I felt like it might crack the sheet metal. Didn't know that for sure, but I felt like it would. A good sheet metal is going to be $3,000. This was more, obviously, but I'm confident that this thing will hold up.
And it's a flat bottom boat.
It is a semi.
Oh,
you know,
that really
and
gets
it's
the
a
crap beat out of
small-
it.
It's
Yeah.
a small boat. It's these boats are only. I think they're only 16 feet. Cracker Box. If you ever look it up online,
I'm going to now.
it's hairball. 2 people in it.
Oh, you're talking about the little ones on like
Yes.
the little, they like pivot real fast?
No,
Oh,
these
okay.
are circle tracks.
Zero track, okay.
And essentially they're vintage. They've been around forever.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them anymore, but it's very hairball. You sit in the very, very, very back of the boat. The motor sits in front of you.
Oh, whoa.
Most of the boats are made out of wood still. I mean, this guy's grandfather built this boat in a garage. The whole boat.
It's 600 horsepower in it now.
Yeah, now it's got 600 horsepower. I mean, his other one, hopefully this one will make where if it could be in the 650 range or something like that. It's pretty stout, 310 inches, 4150 carburetor. You have to run a 650 carburetor out of the box.
Oh, that's part of the rules.
Choke horn, everything. It cannot be an HP or nothing. So, and that's part of the rules.
Interesting.
So, we'll see what it does, but it's.
So, when do you recommend the valve squirters?
You know, most endurance stuff, it's never a bad idea to do it. I don't see the downfall to it really. So, that's up to you.
You don't worry about oil going places it doesn't need to be.
I don't think so. That was a big thing. A lot of people used to want to seal off the top and
Yeah.
things like that and everything. But
Like
in
what-
endurance applications, all honesty, it's possible you might give up a little power.
Yeah.
If too much oil is draining
it's
back
falling on
down
the crank
everything.
and
if there's too much
And you're pumping it in the
falling
first
everywhere,
place.
there's a possibility it could foam. That's the other downfall to it. But in most of the dry sump deals, dry sumps have come so far. A lot of them are really nice on how they, take a lot of that stuff out.
What do you think about those new things that kind of spin it and de-aerate separate the air and the oil before it even gets to the tank? You think that's overkill?
I haven't done anything like that before. Daily makes an awesome dry sump pump with what they call
Built-in
air separator in it,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. Another good video to look up is I'm pretty sure it's from him, but it's air separator test or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you'd have to search it, but he has a clear dry sump tank on a motor that I think spins like 11,000 RPM or something crazy like that. And you watch it without an air separator, how much the oil level goes up and foams
Oh,
and
'cause of the
everything.
air
It's
in it.
amazing, yeah. And then he runs his pump with the air separator, and it just doesn't even move. You can see the oil, the color. I mean, it foams so much, it changes the color of the oil. It doesn't change.
Goes from brown to yellow kind
Yeah.
of
It
thing.
looks like a root beer.
Yeah.
A root beer float.
Yeah, not good.
It's just amazing, like, and so a lot of times if I get really exotic on some engines, road race steels or circle tracks,
Yeah.
I'll do an air separator for sure.
I was looking at the valve cover. It's like $500 just for the valve covers or something.
Probably.
When they have the oil
when you
squirters in them.
squirters and everything.
And I have the Jessels. I don't know if my stock valve
No.
covers are going to fit.
They won't.
They won't.
You'll have to get a sheet metal set of valve covers for sure.
You think I'll have to clearance the head even maybe a little bit? I mean,
Sometimes it's kind of rare now. It seems like I know in the first sets of comp shaft rockers, long time ago, I had to clearance the head for the push rod a little bit, tiny bit. But the last mini sets I put on, I've never had to touch anything.
okay.
You know, and you just got to buy the right valve cover. Be careful all the valve cover companies out there. A lot of them say they clear Jessels and they don't. You get them and you spend $500 on valve covers and then they don't fit. I've gotten sets that were anodized and everything and talked to the company and like, hey, they don't fit and this and that, we'll clearance it. Well, I'm not going to cut on my $500 valve covers that are all anodized. Sure, it's on the inside, but it's just a point where it's going to start, you know, messing up from there. You know, it's not the point. There are companies that make valve covers that fit. So you just got to be careful of that, like
Right.
making sure that it's going to fit. Check their return policy.
Yeah, check the return policy.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's get you paid and loaded up.
Yeah.